Hey everybody, it's Trevor here with the channel where every day is range day, and in this week's video we're going to be talking about cleaning a pump action shotgun. Let's check it out. Alright guys, and as we get into this, whenever you're cleaning any type of firearm, of course the most important thing is to check for clear. So we will do that here. There's nothing in the chamber on the shotgun. There's also nothing in the mag tube there, so we're good to go. That applies for anything, and now we'll take a little bit closer look at specifics for cleaning shotguns, more specifically this pump here in the Benelli Supernova. And as I'm getting into this isn't the dirtiest shotgun in the world, but these cleaning videos I think are always helpful, and it's always something that's important to do with your firearms, albeit at varying frequencies, but that's a different matter of opinion. As a general rule of thumb, I'm more of the sort of once every 6 months or once or twice a year type guy for cleaning your weapons. My carry gun, I'll do a little bit more, but there's definitely no harm in cleaning your guns too often as long as you keep them oiled. But for most firearms, whenever you're cleaning them, shotguns included, the general procedure for a basic clean is to field strip the weapon. You can take it apart further than that if you're really wanting a deep clean. Most people really won't need to do that, but for these types of shotguns, field stripping usually involves taking the pump off and the barrel so you can get at inside the receiver and all that. It's a little different for semi-autos, but that's not what we're working with today. YouTube doesn't really like it when I show you how to take guns apart and put them back together and stuff, so we'll snap back to this in pieces and ready to get looking at cleaning it. And again, that's pretty simple there. Barrel just comes off. Your shotgun might vary a little bit based on whether this all comes apart and how the bolt may come out or whatever. Most of the time though, for your basic type of cleaning like this one, we're not really going to need to take all of the guts of the gun out, just as long as you get some important bits, and most importantly, oil some metal on metal pieces. As usual, we have the barrel assembly up here, and the first thing I usually like to do is just wipe everything down with a good microfiber cloth. You don't really have to do too much more than this unless you've been digging holes with your gun or something weird like that. I'm not going to judge, but hey, no point making it too complicated, and that's a general rule of thumb I like to follow when cleaning my guns. I usually just use some, maybe some cleaning bristles and microfiber cloth, and then just some gun oil. I don't like the 6-part, 10-part, 32-pack of solvents and cleaners and all that. Just this is really all you need here, but if you want to make it more complicated and really get a good clean, go for it. Definitely nothing wrong with it. Just wipe down these components here. And that should be about all you need to do. If there's any real freestanding dirt or anything like that, that's a pretty big thing to get out up front. Slide that forward and start wiping some of it off too, get some of that gunk off of it. Pop it back a little bit in there just so I can get at it. And this one isn't super dirty, but it's always nice to have a little nylon brush in there and really scrub some stuff. If you happen to have a lot of buildup or some hard to reach places, this one comes with the Glock kits, but you can find them pretty much wherever. You can also take off the mag tube and clean it if you want. I won't be doing that in this video simply because it's not super necessary. But if you have dirty rounds or something they've dropped on the ground, sometimes that stuff can get in the mag tube there and cause a bit of a mess. Mine's still pretty clean because I haven't been doing that, but just another thing to keep in mind. That being said, now that we're all mostly wiped down and free of any big dirt, I'm going to take the bulk of the gun and set it off to the side here. We're just going to take a closer look at the barrel. Now, my favorite tool for cleaning out gun barrels is a bore snake, something like this, which is a little weighted string that you drop down the breech, and then this cleaning cloth and some little bristles on there that pulls through the tube. Works something like this. Just pop that down there. And it'll fall out the bottom. Little brass case there at the end will not scratch anything. Then you pull this through and it goes out. This one is not for 12 gauge, it's 9mm, so it's not going to work here. Definitely buy one of these if you plan on cleaning your guns more than once or twice a year. They're the best. They're not very expensive, like 10-15 bucks, something like that. We're not sponsored, but bore snakes or Bornados or whatever, this type of device here is really the best thing you could ever get for cleaning barrels, so definitely pick one of those up. Here in front of me I just have these bristle brushes, a little metal bristle brush here to clean the barrel out, and then a little swab to actually roll it back up on the inside, and then just a push rod to help me get that done. More of the classical cleaning tools here, but they work nonetheless. Nothing too complicated here, it's just bristles first and then a little swab at the end to give everything a nice clean for lots of heavy debris. And I'll usually put a couple dabs of oil on the cotton swab there to make sure everything is oiled up at the end. Oiling really is the most important part of cleaning a firearm if you ask me. Again, it's always best to clean in the same direction that the projectiles are going to travel. And mine's not super dirty, you can see a little bit of carbon on there. Really not too bad. And then we'll move on to the swab, which is really the important thing if you ask me. I'll harp on this over and over and over. Well-oiled guns are definitely more important in my opinion than super clean ones, at least as they pertain to modern firearms. If you have something older, more, antique rather, if that's the right choice of words, maybe a little more important to keep it clean to avoid malfunctions. But any like modern polymer handguns, ARs, stuff like this is generally pretty safe. I believe just a little bit dirtier, but definitely don't skimp on the oil, so I put a little bit on there. And there we have it. That's a clean barrel, at least on the inside. Mine again wasn't super dirty to begin with, but that's the general premise and really all the work that you need to do with this type of kit. Again, a bore snake kind of does that all for you in one, with the bristles on the middle, and then the rest of it's that nice cleaning cloth. Put a little oil on there. This really is like the kind of do-it-all cleaning tool. The next thing to do with the barrel is just put a little bit of oil on the barrel itself. That helps combat rusting if there happen to be any nicks in the finish or anything like that. Again, is probably the most important part of anything that we're doing here is this guy right here. I use the Hops number 9. There's a bunch of other options there too. I'll just use the cloth here to kind of wipe that in. This about here is all you'll need. Just wipe it in with the microfiber. And that right there is the finish you're wanting right there. Just a dull sheen. You don't want a ton of oil gummed up on there, as that actually attracts a bit more dirt. And any of these moving parts kind of in here that actually interface with the bolt and things like that, maybe just get a little more. That's what the oil's best at, is for the metal on metal contact. And as I'm kind of doing this here, I will speak a little bit on the overall thoughts of, at least seems to be what's the popular opinion these days. Oh, you don't need to clean your guns. More or less that's generally true, unless they're like super dirty and caked up with mud or something like that. But it's still a good idea to clean them, once or twice a year. It just helps them last a little bit longer. And I find that to be a little bit more important with your carry gun. Put a little oil on the bolt here is probably one of the more important parts as well. But like my carry gun, I clean quite a bit more than any other weapon, just because I want that weapon to be in the utmost condition, and I don't want there to be any chances taken on the reliability, because maybe it's dirty or something like that. I'm sure you get a couple other drops in here too on these rails where the bolt slides back and forth. Again, maybe just a drop or two. You really don't need that much. But back to the carry gun thing, I like to keep that one just a little bit more cleaner so there's no chances of any type of fouling or anything like that. But I also shoot it the most. If it's something like a Glock or a modern handgun, yeah, you probably don't really need to clean it. It'll run pretty good. But it never hurts for something like the carry gun. That's really the only bit of caution that I would urge, as opposed to, something like this. You probably not ever have to clean a 12 gauge unless something's really wrong or dirty with it. Put a little oil on the top here for where the pump slides on the rails. Wipe off a little bit of the excess there, as again, you don't want too much. And just work the action a little bit to make that oil dispersed. A little bit more on the tube there. And that really ought to cover it as far as this particular 12 gauge goes. I'm lucky in this case, it's basically all polymer on this thing, and most modern weapons will be convenient like that. They're pretty easy to clean, and if you really get them dirty, you can just soap and water them up and then dry them off. It's just pretty hard plastic there. You're not really going to damage anything or ruin the finish that much. But if you have like an older pump shotgun that's got like a real nice wood stock and some exquisite finish, you might be a little bit more careful about what you actually put on there. You don't want to strip any sealer off or damage that wood. That's very important to some people, especially as it pertains to shotguns. There's some beautiful shotgun stocks out there, and if that's the case, really look into separate rags for cleaning that out, and take some time to look into a proper oil for applying to that wood finish. That'll be even more important. This right here, wipe it off and keep it clean. But if you got a really nice burl stock or something like that, take the time to look into the proper wood finish, maybe even a sealer coat to make sure that stays looking good and that finish is protected. You don't want to just put any old gun solvent or just some lubricating oil on there. There's special oils for that stuff based on the type of wood and things like that to make them look really good. But I feel like if that's the weapon that you have, you generally take a pretty good care of it anyways, as opposed to something like this or a modern combat shotgun. Mostly polymer or metal, completely different to clean. The next thing to do is put her back together and do a functions check. So let's jump over to that. Of course, now that we're all back together here, which is really quite simple with your modern pump action shotguns here, a good functions check is always in order anytime you disassemble and then reassemble the firearm. So again, we'll check that we're clear in here, which of course we are. Pop our safety on the fire, rack this back here. Everything works as it should. Trigger works, pump lets go. back, forward, shoot again. Just do that a couple times so you're satisfied. That's really all you have to do. Just make sure you're working good again after the good cleaning, and then you should be good to go until the next time. And that'll about do it for the video this week, guys, on how to clean a pump action shotgun. Overall, a pretty simple process that you probably don't have to do more than maybe once a year unless you're really shooting a bunch of boxes through this thing. Basically just field strip it, clean off any big gunk with a brush, and then I just use a bore snake and a nice microfiber to wipe her down. Then don't forget to oil it up, just paying special attention to any of those metal on metal contacts, especially the rails for the bolt of the weapon, then here on the pump rail. Put her back together, quick functions check, good to go. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like down below. If you have any questions about cleaning this particular shotgun, any other cleaning tips or suggestions or something you might like to share, please feel free to leave them down below in the comments. We always love hearing from you guys. And as always, make sure to subscribe to the channel, where every day is range day. Thanks for watching.